Hi everyone, I'm Meredith Abbott, Manager of Culinary Content.
And I'm Danielle Botit, recipe writer and pastry chef.
Today we'll be making a beef tenderloin with roasted vegetables. Danielle will be showing you how to braid this beautiful challah, and then we'll finish off this meal with a spring salad. And what kind of vinaigrette are you going to show us?
We're going to do a warm shallot vinaigrette with some lemon juice, some pecorino, some crispy shallots on top. We have some wonderful spring vegetables in it. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So to start off, we're going to talk about the beef tenderloin. So this is what a beef tenderloin looks like. This is about a 2.5 pounder. When you get it from your butcher counter or wherever you're getting it, they might have it tied like this. If not, you'll have this even thickness, and then it tapers off into a pointy end. And for even roasting and also just for it to look nice, the butcher will oftentimes tuck that thin end up and tie it around. So if you see this butcher's twine here, and then also a tenderloin, I love it because it feeds a crowd. I like carving things table side rather than having to put out steak knives and having my guest like carve their steaks. So
right,
I like to do the work for them.
I love that it cooks really quickly too, right?
Cooks super quickly. And then today I've decided to crust ours with a whole grain mustard, horseradish, and herb mix. Beef tenderloin doesn't have a ton of fat and it's very lean, so you really like to add a lot of flavor to it. I also like to do just a super hearty cracked black pepper, or even coffee is really good.
Oh, delicious.
So all you do, crust it with this, pat it in there, massage it in, and then place it on your roasting rack like I have here, which is our Lamarck roaster.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful like that. And then underneath this roasting rack, I have kind of a menagerie of spring vegetables. I have fennel and spring carrots.
I love fennel. I love that flavor.
So good with beef especially. And onions. And those sit underneath. They catch all the juices and they roast alongside the beef.
They caramelize.
They do.
So good.
And for also ease of entertaining, we're doing a reverse sear on that today. So what that means is this goes into the oven in its crusted state at a very low temperature, 250 degrees. This takes about an hour. Longer if it's a larger piece, shorter if it's a thinner piece or smaller piece. This one took about an hour and 15 minutes, and mine was actually cut in half. This is the way it came from the butcher, which is great. The thicker piece on its own and then a thinner piece. And so now it's roasted. Now it's going to go into this huge skillet because we need enough space, and we're going to sear it and then rest it. So to this, because it is so lean, I'm going to baste it with a butter, but if you're doing this for Passover, you could infuse some oil, but today I'm using butter. In my butter, I have garlic and fresh horseradish root. If you can't find fresh horseradish root, you can get prepared horseradish. It is super easy to find in the condiment area. While I'm doing this, what are you doing?
I am listening. Try not to cut my finger. The first thing I did was I mandolined some fresh radishes that are going to go into our warm vinaigrette salad. Now I'm cutting some shallots that's going to go into the vinaigrette. I'm going to do shallots two ways today. I'm going to make some shallot vinaigrette, but I'm also going to crisp up some shallots. Or actually, you're going to do that.
I'll be doing that, yeah.
I'm going to crisp up some shallots in some olive oil.
Great.
And we're going to sprinkle those over the top of our salad to get a little bit of texture and a little bit of crunch.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You're going to hear some sear here in a second.
All right.
So I had the skillet preheating at kind of medium low while we were talking, but as soon as we were getting ready to do this, I turned it up to medium high.
Okay.
Then I added the oil, and I'm waiting to get this shimmer on it. I think you can see that now. It kind of looks like the oil is dancing. That tells me that the oil is ready to go. So you're going to hear some.
Okay. Woo! That's awesome. I love that sound.
And the smell coming off of it is wonderful. So like I said, my tenderloin came in 2 pieces from the butcher, which is great. So now I should tell you the temperatures. I took the tenderloin out of the oven when it was about at 120 degrees. That is still very raw in the middle, not even rare, knowing that it's going to cook a little bit more in this process. So I'm looking for like an end result of like 128, 130. I think that pleases most people.
Right.
So I'm just going to do this while you're
I'm
slicing the shallots.
Slicing some shallots for our crispy shallots.
Yep, and this is wonderful. So getting a little bit of a crust on here.
Tell me about that pan. I love that pan you're using.
So this is great. This is this Lamarck 84, which is a sur la table brand. It is one of our in-house designed wonderful lines of cookware that we carry. This is our 13-inch. It comes with a lid. This is a great pan to do like one-pan meals at home in, because you can start things on the stovetop like this, because you have this great handle that has the Y in it, which keeps the handle nice and cool.
Right.
But then, so you're not having to lift this pan by one, just the handle. They added this small one, so you can safely pick it up and put it into your oven for all those one-pan meals, which are such a huge trend right now. And I don't think they'll ever go away.
No, I don't think so either. That marinade smells so good, that rub. What other things would you rub a tenderloin with?
So anything that has a lot of flavor, and I would let it sit on the tenderloin for at least minimum an hour, but you could even do it the night before.
Right.
I would say heartier herbs, rosemary, thyme. I like parsley just because I think it gives a nice like grassiness. Sage if it's in the winter time, but you know, we're in spring now, so I'm kind of over sage for a little while. You could do porcini powder. I buy that in the bulk section sometimes at the grocery store. If you wanted it to have a little bit of a kick, you could do Aleppo pepper, which
would be great with the coffee rub.
Oh,
that'd be so great.
Like a spicy coffee rub would be so good.
What other, so we're using a tenderloin today. What other like cuts of steak would be good for?
I like anything in like whole roast form. I would even do a chuck roast. That would be cool, because you could then butterfly it out, and then instead of doing the rub just on the outside, you could put it in the inside and then roll it up. So it's infused all the way out. So
this smells so good. I wish you could all smell this.
That one is looking pretty good.
Beautiful.
So I'm going to turn off the heat.
All right.
I'm going to move this guy out of the way. And then I'm going to rest this on our cutting board that will end up slicing it on later.
And resting is really important.
Yes.
Yeah, because of carryover cooking, you want that residual heat to cook the center, and you want all of the moisture to redistribute. So that you have a really nice.
And you can see all this like yummy goodness bits in here.
You could do a pan sauce with that, right?
If we were doing a pan sauce today, I would deglaze this with some wine or even stock, scrape it up, thicken it with a little bit of a roux, and good to go. But today we're focused on other things. So I'm gonna clear up, and I would love for you to show us how to braid some challah. So challah is a traditional enriched bread, enriched because it has eggs in it. It's similar to brioche in that, I'm gonna slide this over. Similar to brioche has butter in it. And let's grab this over here. I'm gonna move the steak out of your way too, so everybody can see.
Thank you. A little bit of a culinary dance with all of us in the kitchen. So back to challah. So it is a beautiful enriched dough. If you see it here, you're going to make your dough. Your recipes are going to be online. We have them for you. And you want it to be really nice and shiny. You're going to knead it till it's really nice and shiny, and you're going to let it rest. That's your first proofing time. So I let it rest in the refrigerator overnight. That builds up the flavor a little bit, because the yeast is still moving around in the fridge and giving off giving off its flavor. But you can also proof it on your bench, meaning your counter or some warm part of your kitchen, for about 2 hours until it doubles in bulk. So that's where we are right now. So I'm going to do a boule, a braided boule. Boule means a round shape. And most importantly at this point, can you grab me the bench scraper, please?
Yes.
Is that I want all of my pieces to be the same weight. So I'm going to weigh them. So I'm gonna do a 6-strand braid today.
That sounds very difficult.
It's not. It's really easy. So this is about 2 pounds. This entire recipe is about 2 pounds. So I want about each piece to be about 5. Let me zero that again. About 5 ounces. That's great. So,
and while you're doing that, I'm going to show you a quick trick. I think asparagus gets to be intimidating for people because you always hear take off the woody ends and stems. Quick, easy tip, it's usually the woody stems are usually about an inch or two on the end, but to find it, I just kind of hold it, bend, and then snap. If your asparagus doesn't snap,
thank you.
It's going to be kind of old. You can use it. It's not horrible. Save it for soups. So then I don't get rid of these ends. I save them, and you make like a cream of asparagus soup with it.
Yum. That sounds so good. I love asparagus.
Save your vegetable ends and repurpose them, and soups are wonderful for that. So while you're doing that, so you're making
I have
snakes like Play-Doh.
So I have 6 pieces that are all relatively equal weight, and I'm going to roll them out. This looks about, I'm going to roll them out to about 18 inches. As the dough relaxes, it's going to spring back a little bit. So you'll see the gluten is, I'm building up the gluten as I'm working with it. So I'm rolling these out, and I'm going to braid these kind of like you would do a lattice braid on the top of a pie, and then I'm going to braid them. If you see the loaf over here, that's the finished loaf with that really dark, beautiful shine on there, which we get with egg wash. I really like a dark bake on my bread. You can take it less if you'd like.
I think before I knew that and went to culinary school and got into food, I would have thought that that's burnt.
No, it's flavor, because it's caramelizing. So you think about when you make a caramel, the darker the color of the caramel, the more flavor. So you're kind of riding that line of caramelization and burn, but I really like a dark bake. So I'm rolling mine out. I have one more to do after this, and then we're going to braid. So traditionally, challah is in a single braid. Today we're going to do 3 different braids and a roll.
Right, we're just showing a little bit of a different style. Usually you would see it in like a long skinny loaf, a 3-strand, 4-strand, 5-strand, 6. There's probably even more.
You can make these in rolls. So you want to make them in rolls, you could just do it in a knot like this and make rolls. Okay, so I'm going to start with 3 strands, which I'm going to lay in relatively close to each other, and then I'm going to lift 2 up, and I'm going to put my first one. This is just like you would do
for a pie crust,
right? So my next strand, I'm going to lift up just the center. So basically, if I was looking at this is under, over, under, and the next one's over, under, over.
So this seems easier because I think a long time ago I would have thought like I would have had to weave it through and pull it.
No.
So this is your trick if you're doing a bacon lattice. Like some people like to cover meatloafs with that.
Right.
Pie crust. This is amazing.
So my last strand is going to go just like the first strand. I'm going to put these really tight next to each other, and it's going over, it's going under, over, under, okay? So we have this like grid in the center, right? This beautiful grid. So then I'm going to start braiding, and I'm going to take, instead of braiding from each end like this, I'm going to take 2 from one end and 1 from another, and that just kind of makes, you know, a really beautiful design. So,
and it probably kind of also helps keep these
it keeps
together.
It tight. So I'm braiding here.
Okay.
And then at the end, I'm going to pinch my ends. This guy needs.
And the dough will just stick together, right?
Yeah,
you don't need to do anything else to it.
No, you don't have to do anything else to it. Pinching.
You are the dough queen here at headquarters. I think everybody loves it when Danielle's in here testing because it smells amazing, and then we get these beautiful outcomes.
Yes, and I love this dough. When this dough is done well, it is so smooth. It's wonderful to play with. It's just kind of like playing. I love this. So I'm braiding my last strand. This is just like a braid that you would do in your hair.
While you're doing that, I'm going to quickly blanch and shock this asparagus that I've just cut into like bite-sized pieces. Blanching means cooking in hot salted water. You want the water to taste like the sea. I'm only cooking them long enough to make these turn bright green because I want them to stay crunchy. And then shocking them is then plunging them into very, very ice cold water to stop that cooking process. And it also sets that really beautiful green color.
Yes.
So I'm going to step off camera and do that really fast.
And I'm going to finish. So now I have my 4 braids, I have my beautiful lattice in the center, and all I do is I just start tucking my strands into each other to create the boule shape, like this.
Boule is such a fun word. What does it mean?
Boule, it means ball. And so then that's it. And I'm going to lift it up, put it on my sheet pan and kind of move things around a little bit to get it to the shape that I want. Now, the next thing that I do, we got this beautiful glaze or this beautiful color on there because we egg washed it. So this egg wash that I'm using here has a little milk in it. If you're doing this and you don't want to use dairy, you just do egg and water. And so this is my first proof. I'm going to let this sit in the oven, proofing part of my oven, or out on your bench until it doubles in size. And then once it doubles in size, then I'm going to dress it with my toppings. So today, the one that I did before was some poppy seed and some coarse sea salt. Today, you could also use some pearl sugar if you wanted to be sweet, some sesame seeds. But I'm not going to do it now because I want it to rise. Once it rises, I'm going to brush it one more time with egg wash, then sprinkle my toppings on. Then I'm going to bake it 350 for about 15 minutes, rotate your pan another 15. And then you have this beautiful loaf. Okay, it's beautiful. And you know it's done when you knock it on the bottom and it sounds hollow.
Do that again. Oh. So it feels like we're going through things a little quickly. You can always write in and ask questions and we'll respond, which is, I think, we do these at Thanksgiving.
Yes,
This is our first one that we've done at springtime. I mean, we're here to help you with your entertaining and cooking needs. We have chefs on staff. We are here as a resource.
So we have our tenderloin is resting. We're gonna slice it in a minute. Our fast forwarding, our boule is done. So this would be done before your tenderloin would in, because when it would go in the oven, you want this to rest and be cool. So now we're gonna build up our salad.
Yep.
So
I got those shallots in the pan a little bit late and I realized I used both of your shallots in there.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. So we're gonna build our salad dressing. So we're gonna get these nice and crispy and then we're gonna take them out. I'm gonna use that infused oil. So when you heat up anything in oil, the essential oils that are in that ingredient get pulled into the oil. So I'm not gonna discard that oil. It's like gold. I'm gonna use that to build up a warm vinaigrette. And so our salad today is gonna have some edamame. It's going to have our blanched asparagus, radishes, and is that it today? Yes, some
snap peas. Did you say snap peas?
Snap peas and some pecorino. It's
Any
gonna
of
be
your
delicious.
favorite spring vegetables, you could do thinly sliced carrots in this. All the same methodology. Blanch shock could be done the day before and held in your refrigerator. I think initially we wanted to do these with fava beans.
Right, we couldn't get
any
any
yet.
yet.
To different farmers markets around here, and fava beans just aren't in yet. So we subbed with edamame. So you can always substitute your favorite ingredients. If you could find fresh English peas right now,
that would be amazing.
You could do that. Shuck them, use the peas, blanch shuck the peas, and then use the shells, again, in a soup. Here, I have some more, I minced some more shallot for you since I used
great.
it.
You can also kind of build the salad up for, it could be, a one dish meal. You could put some soft boiled, some jammy eggs on there, some bacon if you'd like. This is gonna be our side for our spring dinner, but you can really, the salad can kind of be, if you wanted it to be the main course, it totally could.
Yes,
so I'm getting a little bit of color on my shallots right now.
Just gonna clean up our area so we can start finishing the dishes.
So I'm gonna get some color on these shallots, and as soon as I get some color, I'm gonna move them out of the pan and I'm gonna use it to build the rest of my dressing. When you have a minute, Meredith, can you hand me the rest of the ingredients for the salad, like my lemons and things?
Yep.
So like I said before, we have some edamame that we shocked. We have some spring peas, or some stringer snaps that we shocked as well. We also found these adorable little radishes, which we also blanched and shocked, just for a little bit of more texture in there. All right, so this is the beginning of our salad here. You notice we don't have any greens in this salad. This has wonderful spring veggies. So there's our asparagus. Now I'm going to, I'm getting some color on my shallots here.
Super hearty salad.
Yeah, it really is. All right, and then, all right, so a little bit of color. I'm gonna take some of these out.
And to it, just to add more freshness, we have a bunch of chopped fresh herbs in here. We have dill, mint, thyme and parsley. I feel like I put thyme and parsley in everything, but to make this more springy, we added the dill and the mint. If you wanted to do tarragon, you could do tarragon. Chervil, carrot tops would be really beautiful.
Yeah, that would be good too.
They're quite sweet, and they just taste like carrots, like a grassier version of carrots and like parsley put together.
So I'm going to take my oil off the heat because I don't want to cook anymore. And I'm going to build up my dressing.
Great.
So, chef's knife, please.
Yep.
You can go ahead and toss those herbs in if you'd like. I'm going to put
You can
toss a little bit, and then we can garnish the top. So this is gonna be hot. So we're gonna get a little bit of with the water, a little splatter. Here we go.
Smart. Step back.
Step back a little bit.
Okay, while you're doing that,
there we go.
We got a lot of ingredients.
Oil and water, that's what it does. So I'm gonna put some, instead of putting it in the dressing, I'm gonna put some right on there. Like
smart.
this.
Since at home you would let your oil cool down a bit. Since we're doing this live and in front of you.
Yeah, we have to move a little fast. So I'm gonna add the remaining bit of those shallots to my lemon juice. I'm going to add a little bit of lemon zest. So Meredith puts parsley and herbs and everything. I put lemon zest and everything.
Lemon zest and then flaky sea salt.
And mascarpone.
We tease each other about it. So
we do. We have our favorite ingredients.
Before I'm carving, I'm just coming in here with my knife and I am snipping the butcher swine that I was talking about before, just because I don't want to carve through it. So I'm just snipping them. You could do it with a pair of shears. I'm just doing it this way and moving them out of the way because I don't want to cut through them. And I saw one more when I turned it over. Sometimes they hide in here a bit after you cook the meat. The meat wants to kind of like tuck up around it. So you just kind of have to remember, look for any indents. Which it looks like there we go. Pull that off. Great. So I have my carving set here. Wipe off my fingers. I'm gonna hold the beef in place with the fork, and with long swoops, I'm gonna kind of work at a little bit of an angle. This piece is the best. This is always for the cook.
That's right. That is the best.
And I'm gonna do it in about 1/2-inch slices, and I'm gonna try to keep them intact because it just makes the plating process look a little bit prettier when you can fan out these slices. So every so often I'm gonna move my fork back, but don't want it to be too far back because then I don't have control. And I heard that, so I'm gonna move it back, slice, slice, slice. You can be as precise or not. Not only do I do them 1/2-inch, I kind of like them at an angle too. I just think it cuts through that fiber in a different way. And tenderloin is so tender, as it
beautiful.
says.
Color.
Yes, here, so I'll pull
I'm tossing my dressing now on here. I added a little bit of pecorino to make it nice and creamy. Again, I added some more lemon juice inside the salad so I didn't spark so much splatter. Thank you.
For you.
And then I'm going to dress it with some freshly mandolin radishes that I did at the beginning of today.
Great. So to plate this, we're running out of time. Just gonna put the tenderloin off to the side. I'm gonna quickly slice this other piece of it. This was, like I said earlier, 2.5-pound tenderloin. I would serve this to 8 people. This actually whole meal would be wonderful for about 8 people. You'll have a couple little extra. That never hurt anybody. This beef tenderloin makes great sandwiches the next day.
I'm going to put some pecorino on top, too. I'm going to finish it with some flaky sea salt. Oh, look at that.
Lovely. And then I'm just going to come in here and grab the rest of those vegetables that we're roasting below.
These are our crispy shallots. Those are going to go on top like this.
And I'm doing this with very clean hands. Always wash hands.
Salt.
These are cooler now since they've been resting, and I would just kind of put them off to the side. People can grab these if they would rather have roasted vegetables rather than fresh ones. Okay, So we flew through this. Like I said, all recipes will be online.
All right.
And let's show this and taste it.
I'm gonna cut the challah. See the inside, the crumb in there. Oh, it's nice and moist.
There we go. And again, we'll have a link that you can click to shop all of our Lamarck items that you saw in here today and everything else that we carry in our assortment. And don't forget to comment and tell us what you're making.
Yeah, what spring recipes are you making? And
we look forward to seeing what you're cooking.
Yes, happy spring, everyone.